You don't talk about it, do you? That moment, the one that still sits quietly in your chest, heavy, unresolved, like a story that never got an ending. Maybe it was a betrayal. Maybe it was a failure that cost you everything. Maybe it was rejection from someone you trusted, or worse, from yourself. And if you're honest, you've asked this question more than once. Why did this happen to me? But what if that question is the very thing keeping you stuck? Because today, we are doing something different. Today, we are not running from pain. We are turning it into purpose. And if you stay with me until the end, you will not see your pain the same way again. You will see it as power. Let me ask you something. What if the thing that broke you is the exact thing that is meant to build you? Not later, not someday, but right now. Most people misunderstand pain. They think pain is the end of something, the end of happiness, the end of peace, the end of who they used to be. But pain is not the end. Pain is a signal, a message, a turning point. And here's the truth nobody tells you. Pain doesn't destroy you. Your resistance to it does. Think about that. Every time you try to avoid it, suppress it, ignore it, you don't eliminate the pain. You trap it. You carry it. You become it. And slowly, quietly, it shapes your decisions, your beliefs, your identity. You start saying things like, I'm not good enough. I always get hurt. Nothing ever works out for me. But those aren't truths. They are stories. Stories written in moments of pain and repeated so often they start to feel real. But what if I told you those same moments could be rewritten? Not erased, not forgotten, rewritten. Because pain, when understood, becomes insight, and insight becomes power. There was a man who spent 27 years in prison.
27 years, stripped of freedom, separated from his family, forced to live in conditions designed to break the human spirit. Most people would come out of that experience filled with bitterness, anger, revenge. But he didn't. He walked out with peace, with purpose, with a vision bigger than his suffering. And when asked how he could forgive those who imprisoned him, he said something that the world will never forget. As I walked out the door toward my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. Let that sink in, because that's not just a story, that's a blueprint. You see, pain gives you two choices. You can carry it or you can transform it, but you cannot ignore it. And here's where it gets uncomfortable, because transformation requires responsibility, not blame, responsibility. It asks you to look at your pain, not as something that happened to you, but something that is now yours to work with. And I know that's not easy, because some pain feels unfair, unjust, unforgivable. But holding on to that pain does not punish the past. It imprisons the present. Let me ask you something. How much of your life is being controlled by something that is already over? Think about the opportunities you didn't take because you were afraid of being hurt again. The relationships you avoided because you didn't trust yourself to not fall apart. The dreams you abandoned because failure once convinced you weren't capable. That's the hidden cost of pain. Not just what it did to you then, but what it continues to do to you now, silently, relentlessly. Unless you decide to face it. And here's where everything begins to change. Because the moment you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? You shift from victim to student. And students grow. Students evolve. Students turn pain into wisdom. But let me be honest with you. This process is not quick. It is not comfortable. And it is not linear. There will be days when you feel strong, clear, powerful. And then, without warning, the pain will come back. A memory, a feeling, a moment that pulls you right back into the past. And you'll wonder, have I made any progress at all? Yes, you have. Because healing is not about never feeling pain again. It's about not being controlled by it. It's about feeling it without becoming it, understanding it without being defined by it. Let me ask you something deeper. What if your pain is not just about you? What if the struggles you've faced, the lessons you've learned, the strength you've built are meant to serve something greater? Because purpose is often born from pain. The person who was once lost becomes the guide. The person who was once broken becomes the healer. The person who once suffered becomes the voice. But only if they choose to transform. Most people don't. Most people stay in the story of their pain. They replay it. They relive it. They build their identity around it. I'm the one who got hurt. I'm the one who failed. I'm the one who was betrayed. And over time, that story becomes their prison. But you are here, listening, thinking, questioning, which means something inside you is ready to see things differently, ready to grow, ready to let go. But what does it actually mean to turn pain into purpose? It means extracting meaning from suffering. It means asking, what did this teach me about myself? What did this reveal about others? What strength did I develop because of this? How can this help someone else? Because pain, when left alone, is just pain. But pain, when processed, becomes perspective. And perspective changes everything. Let me give you an example. A person who experiences rejection can either decide, I'm not worthy, or I now understand how rejection feels, and I will never make someone else feel this way. Same experience, different interpretation, different outcome. And that's the key. You don't control what happens to you. But you do control what it means. And meaning shapes identity. Identity shapes behavior. Behavior shapes destiny. So when you change the meaning of your pain, you change your future. But here's the part most people avoid. You have to sit with it. Not distract yourself, not numb it, not run from it. Sit with it, feel it, understand it. Because buried within your pain is truth. Truth about what matters to you. Truth about what hurt you. Truth about what needs to change. And once you see that truth, you can no longer be blind. Let me ask you something. What is your pain trying to tell you? Is it telling you that you gave your power away? Is it telling you that you ignored your own voice? Is it telling you that you stayed in something longer than you should have? Because pain is often the result of misalignment between who you are and how you are living. And purpose is the path back to alignment. But here's where most people get stuck. They wait. They wait to feel better. They wait to feel ready. They wait for clarity. But clarity does not come before action. Clarity comes from action, from movement, from doing something even when you don't have all the answers. Let me tell you something powerful. You don't find purpose. You build it. Through choices, through growth, through the decision to not waste your pain. Because wasted pain becomes regret, but used pain becomes purpose. And purpose gives meaning to everything you've been through. Let me ask you something again. What if the thing you're most ashamed of becomes the thing that helps someone else feel less alone? What if your story, your struggle, your journey becomes someone else's survival guide? Because that's how transformation works. It doesn't erase the past, it redeems it. It turns wounds into wisdom, and wisdom into impact. But there's a moment, a very specific moment, where this shift happens, and most people miss it. It's the moment when you stop asking for your old life back and start building a new one. Because here's the truth. You are not meant to go back. You are meant to grow forward. And that requires letting go, not of the memory, but of the identity attached to it. You are not your pain. You are the person who survived it, learned from it, and now has the power to transform it. But what if you're still angry? What if you're still hurt? What if you're not ready to forgive?
That's okay. Forgiveness is not about pretending it didn't matter. It's about deciding it no longer controls you. Because holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to suffer. It doesn't work. It only keeps you stuck. And you deserve more than that. You deserve peace. You deserve growth. You deserve purpose. But you have to choose it over and over again, especially on the days when it's hardest. Let me ask you one final question. What are you going to do with your pain? Are you going to let it define you, limit you, control you? Or are you going to use it, shape it, transform it into something meaningful? Because at the end of the day, pain is inevitable. But suffering is a choice. And purpose is what happens when you decide that your pain will not be the end of your story, but the beginning of something greater. So take a breath. Look back, not with regret, but with understanding. And then look forward with courage. Because everything you've been through has prepared you for everything you're capable of becoming. And maybe, just maybe, the reason you had to go through that pain is because someone, somewhere, needs the strength you are about to discover. So don't waste it. Don't hide from it. Turn it into something powerful. Turn it into something meaningful. Turn it into purpose.
And as you move forward, remember this. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt, stronger, wiser, more aware, more alive. And one day, you will look back at this moment, not as the time you were falling apart, but as the moment you began to rise. So I'll leave you with this. What are you ready to let go of so you can finally become who you were meant to be?